Hey you guys, so I was eating breakfast and I saw this on my recommended feed. Now I had watched this several times before, but it's always refreshing to just get like a wake up call of sorts, or just get a reminder like, hey, make sure spending's always kept in check. Now you can ask anybody that knows me personally, including Lewis, about my spending, and criticism is well, not really a criticism, but I actually don't like spending a lot of money at all. I try to be very frugal. Part of it is because I grew up around a household, and I grew up around family members and neighbors who are just very frugal. And gonna be real here, Chinese people tend to be very cheap. So when people talk about like cheap Chinese people, tends to be like around like 40s to 60 years old, or even older. The older the generation, I find that they're very savvy with their money. I mean, if you think that I'm really frugal, some people that I know, they are probably like very much no spend. But it's not because they don't have money. It's because they have more joy saving money than spending money. In fact, when we go to like a lot of retail stores now, right? You look in the stores, a t-shirt is like $25, or sometimes it's like some crappy stuff and it's overpriced. And Chinese people, from what I see, they tend to be not like the materialistic people, but the older generation, they tend to be very prideful in how much they can make that dollar stretch. And as a result of that, they don't really have money issues. It might seem like outside in they have money issues, because you might think like, oh, they're wearing the same kind of clothing. Oh, they have like rickety, dickety kind of shopping carts. Oh, they don't have like the latest shoes. But man, they are really good savers. They are very good savers, and they don't give a crap what people think about them. For instance, right, if they decide to patch up their clothes, they're thinking, hey, you know what, they could buy a new pair of jeans, for instance, or a new top if they want to, but they choose not to. So when the situation occurred, when the what occurred, where people couldn't go to work or business was a lot slower for individuals, I remember reaching out to a few people that I knew in Hawaii, and I said, hey, how are you doing? And they were like, Erica, you know what, I'm fine. I haven't changed my spending habits at all. Yeah, maybe business is like down 75% or so, but that's okay. I've been saving money for years. And they have this kind of mentality that even if their paycheck goes lower, they've been they've been prepared. They've been prepared with an emergency fund. So, as I mentioned before, from my experience, for Chinese people, not all Chinese people, okay, but a lot of Chinese people, they're big savers, and I've always thought of that to be such an inspiration. Now, my mom passed away around 2008, and I remember one of the things that she told me was, she said that don't be deceived by these South Koreans that you see walking around. You, Erica, you might think that they're really rich, but that's not the case. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about, Mom? So when she passed away, I was about 19 years old. So she told me this around the time I was in high school. So when you're in high school, right, you're very malleable. You're very there was a lot of marketing going on. I think, yeah, around that time I was 16. That's when the LV Murakami came out. So here it is. In case you guys are not familiar with the Louis Vuitton Murakami collection, I think it was in stores when I was 16. LV Murakami. I thought this was a really beautiful thing. See this? Remember this? Old school. I'm definitely showing my age here. See that? So I saw this, and I was like lusting after this collection, and my parents knew this, obviously, but I never got one for my sweet 16. This was the one that I wanted, the Troville. I remember when I was 16 years old, for my sweet 16th, they said, oh, Erica, if you want to buy one of the Murakami bags, we'll pay for it. And my family is not rich at all, but they're big savers. And I remember I walked into the LV store in Waikiki. I held this Troville, this specific one, in my hands, And I remember my parents were right behind me thinking like, oh, this is going to be her sweet 16th gift. We're so excited in the sense that she reached 16 years old. I had it in my hands, and then I looked at it really carefully, and I asked the salesperson. I said, "Well, how do I do I have to take care of it? Do I have to, do I have to do anything for the metal, or is it going to be shiny forever?" And the only reason why I mentioned that, because you can see, I don't remember how the retail price is, but I guess maybe I think it was around 1,200 or 1,650 at the time. And I remember they said it was brass, so I would have to polish it. And I thought, brass? I could not believe it. I was like, I gotta polish this brass? Like, I can't just carry this handbag for a long time and that's it? And they said, I have to do some bag maintenance about it. But they didn't obviously go into detail because they saw this is a high school girl. She has her two parents behind her. We can make the sale. And I held the bag in front of me. I looked back and I just thought to myself like, wow, this is a bag that costs a lot of money and I have to take care of it. I don't want it. So I just walked out of the store without an LV bag. And yeah, so point of that story is that I could have had an LV Murakami Troville, but me walking down the street, if I had that bag, people might be think like, oh wow, she's really spoiled, or she has like her family has a lot of money, but that wasn't the case. It was really a result of my parents saving a lot of money, and my dad working really hard. My dad worked 7 days a week, sort of thing. So I really respect my dad a lot. So the thing is that when you see people with these items, and my mom knew this, if I saw people out on the street with an LV bag or a Lexus or a Mercedes, she knew that I would think, oh, all these people are really rich, because that's what these items signify. If you see a person on the street with these kind of things, you don't think about debt too much. But what my mom shared with me is she said that she had a lot of friends who were South Korean, and my mom's side of the family is South Korean, so it's not like I'm just picking on them. But she told me, she said, these people care a lot about their image, and they spend their money on these luxury items. But as a result of that, because it's not all of them are rich, they have to move around their spending, and it comes at a cost of their food. So you'll see them eating basically kimchi, rice, and vegetables, eating very plainly every day, Erica, because this is where they're spending their money on. They're spending their money on the LV stuff. And I didn't really think much about it, but as I got older, I thought like, wow, yeah, that's true. So as I've gotten older, I've gotten to know a number of individuals. And I see time and time over again where people will say, I have some money, let me spend it. And they don't have, let's say, it's not like they're spending this money because they feel like this will truly elevate their life and it'll add to their image. Not really just that, but it's also like comes from like insecurity, where they want to have these items because they want to signify to, they want to show other people that I'm on a higher tier than you, right? I have all these things, but people don't get to see the credit card debt. They don't get to see how this person lives apart from their LV bags or their Lexus car or their Mercedes. And again, as I've mentioned before, this is not all Koreans, but from what I see, it's a good chunk of it. So you'll see people that look rich and they'll have, let's say, they'll have like the nice perm, and they'll have, let's say, the nice watch, and they'll have the nice looking expensive tinted sunglasses with the gold rims. I can't describe it, but it's like ajumma kind of thing. But don't fall for that trap kind of thing. And it's not just Koreans. You see this in American culture too. You'll see people who they just like flashing kind of cash, or they like saying like, look how ballin' I am. And I don't think it's a good thing. I think that people who surround themselves with luxury items, if they cannot comfortably afford it, if they're if they're putting themselves into debt, it's destructive. So it's one thing to say, okay, I can comfortably afford this kind of thing, but it's another thing to say, well, I'm lacking in my life, so I need these luxury items to make me feel better. And they just fall into this materialistic crap. So as a 16-year-old, right, I like this thing because I saw it all over and I thought this was like a cool hip thing. And yeah, now that I'm 32, if I had this bag, 100%, like I would not carry this bag out, 1000%. In fact, this bag, although I did like the design of it, it's like you have also I don't know if you guys can see it, but the straps where you hold the straps where you put your hand on, you see how it's darker, it has discoloration. That's because of the oils in the hand. So this is actually a common thing about an LV bag, but a lot of people, if they don't know any better, they just think like, oh, my bag will always look perfect. But nah, that's not really the case. See, so all that metal, all this brass, you got to take care of it. And yeah, I didn't want to have the stress. In fact, I find that the more expensive bag it is, it won't make me happy to carry one of these bags because I have it in the back of my mind like, crap, this is $1,000 that I'm carrying or so. Like carrying a MacBook out on the street, and LV is one of those prominent things that if I walk down the street, someone would easily want to take this stuff from me because, well, it's a free $1,000 or so, right? I mean, like, it's gonna be really easy to overtake my skinny ass, with this little handbag. But going back to what I was saying over here. So when I saw this is the YouTube clip. They talk about South Korean debt, and here is the article. It basically is a transcript over here. So this came out. When did this come out? Let's see. April 25th, 2020. So this guy, right, he had 4 credit cards. Actually, the average South Korean has 5 credit cards, if I remember correctly. And when he got these credit cards, he went on a spending binge. He did not spend within his budget. And that's a dangerous thing about credit cards. I'm not just talking about South Korean, but I'm also talking about American. People think about their credit card limit and they say, hey, you know what? I have a credit card limit of this amount of money. Let me go on a shopping spree because my credit card limit got increased. And then they push it and maybe they run short on money. It's very, very dangerous. It's very dangerous to make your spending based on, let's say, not proportion of what's inside of your bank account, but okay, I have $500 in my bank. No, I have $600 in my bank account, so that means I have a good $550 that I can spend on whatever I want. Because people really need to have an emergency fund, in my opinion. Very, very important. As I mentioned before, the situation when I spoke to people in Hawaii, those frugal Chinese people, they were cool as a cucumber. I was genuinely shocked. I thought they would be stressing out because those people are still working, but they said, nah, I'll be fine, Erica. But yeah, if you have like a house of cards over here with your debt because of consumer spending. Now, I'm not talking about, let's say, unavoidable things. So let's say you lose your job and then you go into debt because you don't have any money in, let's say, an emergency account, or right, your emergency savings ran out, because now it's a different situation. But from what I recall in my like 20s, a lot of people just push the limit in terms of their spending, and it's really sad because when you think about it, all these products that you see around you, the reason why people want them is because of marketing, right? Marketing, articles, buzz around them, like you need to have it. This is the item that will make you feel luxurious. This is the item that will make you have a lot of worth. And there's millions and millions, probably like $1 trillion, $billion behind that kind of stuff, trying to condition people to spend their money. So Let's read this article really quick. See, so this guy went on an 18-month spending spree. He went on a trip. He bought things like shoes and camcorder, and it's because he had all those credit card limits, right? So he wanted to live this year in abundance, but he has this thinking that he can treat himself because he has the ability to treat himself. But it's not really his money, okay? Some people give me crap about this, but if you are borrowing money, do not BS yourself and think that if you're borrowing money on a credit card, that you own that item outright, because you got to pay for it. Same like a mortgage, right? People enter these, let's say, 30-year mortgages buying a home, and they say, I own this home. Truly, you don't own the home unless you pay off everything. Yes, you're in the process of paying it, but you don't own it 100%. You still owe money to the bank first. So when I see this kind of stuff, right? So look at this. He racked up, I don't know how much 87 million won of credit card debt is, but then he got debt collectors on his butt. So tell me, what would he rather have? The trip plus the camcorder plus the shoes and all the other crap he bought, or give that back, or not even buy that, and then he doesn't have to deal with the debt collectors. I think that when you have debt collectors, it adds some mental stress for sure. So better to avoid that situation as much as possible. And then his family found out about his debts, and then he got even more shameful, and then he did some terrible things, right, because of his credit card debt. Remember, he got into this thing because he wanted to treat himself. He thought to himself, well, I want to do this kind of stuff. And it was really an opportunity. See all this thing? So there's a bridge in Korea, and number one reason why people do certain things, it's debt. See? So once you get into debt, it's very hard to get out of debt unless you change your spending habits. And I've known people where they make these stupid financial decisions, and I don't know what it is. It's like a sick cycle where they're in debt, and then they say, I'm feeling shitty, so let me buy more expensive items so I feel better. And it's, okay, let's say this. You're $1,000 in debt. You feel like crap because you're $1,000 in debt. So what do? You go to the store and buy a $250 item because you earn it, or you want to make yourself feel better. But instead of being only $1,000 in debt, now you're $1,250 in debt, not including the interest payments at all. Interest payment is added, money that's not reflective of your original debt. And those interest, those APR kind of things really screw people up. I knew a person who was in debt, and their family had to bail them out, and they were so stressed about their debt. But instead of like actively trying to tackle their debt, they kept buying stuff over and over. I was like, why don't you have this kind of like trim the fat kind of thing? But I've gotten criticism in my life from several individuals. Coincidentally, a lot of those people got into debt, where they were saying like, "Oh, Erica, you just need to stop being so cheap. You need to like splurge on yourself. You should like buy all the items not buy all the items, but you should buy like the items that you want." And they would see me, like, I have no problem going into Bloomingdale's or Nordstrom or anything like that, or Saks Fifth, but 99.9% of the time I won't buy anything. I just like looking at the pretty items. So people would see me and they'd be like, oh, she's looking at all these expensive handbags, and she thinks they're pretty, but she doesn't buy anything. So people thought I was depriving myself, but in actuality, I look at these like $600 handbags, $1,500 handbags. Do I need another handbag? No, I just like looking at the nice, pretty bag. So it's like going to a museum. It's free to look. You can like grab it and see like, ooh, this is the new It bag. That's pretty cool. But I have no desire to own it a lot of the times. Because it's not practical for my lifestyle, right? I mean, especially, like I said, especially in New York. Even when I was in Hawaii, I made this one purchase when I made this one purchase for Kate Spade bag years ago, and I think it was like a $500 handbag, but I got it for about 30% off. And yeah, it was a my biggest handbag purchase at the time, but I loved that handbag so much. And after I got it, I looked at it in the closet and I'm like, Erica, I can't believe you spent like over $300 on this bag. I've used it like 8 times. That's it. 8 times. And I have it in the dust bag and I condition it every so often. And I babied it. And I realized, like, Erica, you're spending too much freaking mental energy on this damn handbag. So if you think about it, right? Let's say it's $300, right? And it was more than $300, but let's just say, for simplicity's sake, $300. I use it 8 times. That means that each use for it is like a little under $40 or so, right? $40 a time for me to carry that freaking handbag. Think about it. Really, really think about it. So every time I'm walking out of the apartment holding this handbag, it's like 30 something dollars of use, cost per use. So I think about cost per use a lot whenever I make purchases, because if you buy an expensive item and let's say you only use it once or twice, that's crazy. That's crazy. But sometimes people buy, let's say, expensive shoes. They'll buy, let's say they bought like a $1,000 pair of shoes and they only wore it 4 times. That's that's $250 a pop every time they wore those shoes. Crazy, right? Crazy. So I try to keep my cost per usage to $1 or less for every item that I own. Because of that, I think, like, I don't want to have like a $40 a use item. It's a little insane in my opinion. And I am proud to say, Clio 1, even Clio 1 definitely got to less than $1 a use. So I have no problem. I've said it before, but I have no problem buying a MacBook or getting a MacBook in the future, because I use my computer every freaking day. I've used the MacBook since 2011, and it adds a lot of joy to my life. I know if Lewis is listening to the stream, he could be listening to the stream. He's probably cringing. He's like, oh, for frick's sake, Eric. But it's true. I love using a MacBook, even if my fan sounds like a jet engine. It's just like, I like the keys, I like the thing, and of all the purchases that I made, my biggest splurge purchase was a MacBook, and but I love it. I love using it, and other than that, I don't have any other purchase that I've... Oh, wait, no, I take that back. My most expensive purchase that I made on myself, besides investments, was Lasik Eye Surgery at $4,000. Yeah. That one worth every single penny. I haven't got... Did I get my dollar per usage yet? Shit, I got it maybe like 3-4 years ago. 4,000. It's gonna take a while, but you know what? I mean, like, I don't know if I'll get to a dollar per usage on my eyeballs with LASIK. I don't know how long it's gonna last. But point is that when I do make purchases, I try to be very choosy about things. I don't buy things just because I want to keep up with like Joneses or anything like that. I truly enjoy the purchases that I make, and I try to limit it. So let's see over here. See, so what happens is that when you go into debt, right, then you have to get into more debt to pay your original debt. And remember that whole interest thing that I was telling you guys about? And by the way, I'm gonna read chat after I'm done with this, because I tend to get off on this freaking tangent, so I want to stay pretty focused. Try to be pretty focused. See? And then, yeah, people couldn't get their job. But what I'm talking about is separate. So if you can't get a job and you have expenses, then naturally, yes, you are going to go into debt. But let's say you have a budget that you need to stick with and you go outside of your budget, that's completely avoidable, especially if you're doing stupid things like, oh, I want to make this big luxury purchase, or oh, I want to lease a luxury car and you can't clearly afford it. I think it's so freaking... Okay, you know what? Let me get into this. I think it's so stupid where people, let's say they make $30,000 a year, and then they buy like a $50,000 a year, a $50,000 car, because they say like, I deserve having this $50,000. I'm like, dude, you have a $30,000 a year job, you cannot afford this freaking $50,000 car, especially if this is your first job. So some people, when they get their first job, they get this whole thing like, oh, I'm gonna be raking in that money, but then they gotta factor in taxes. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you buy a 2000, let's say a 2022, maybe 2022 car came out, I don't know, 2021 car right now, let's say you bought a Lexus, you could go around and be like, look, I got a brand new 2021 Lexus. Ooh, that's cool. Wow, wow, this person must have a lot of money. They bought a brand new car. But it doesn't have the same ring in 2022, 2023, 2024. In 2024, if you tell people, oh yeah, hey, do you know I have a 2021 Lexus? Like, people aren't really gonna be like, okay, you got a 3-year-old car. That's cool, dude. But yeah, sometimes you got these like idiots who they're single and then they say, oh, I know how to get a woman. Oh, I gotta buy an expensive car. Yeah. Once I get a brand new car, all the chicks are gonna be in. Look, hold up a second. Big flaw in there. If you talk to a chick, she ain't gonna know what kind of car you have unless she sees the car. And if it's not a car that's easily recognizable, let's say it's like one like some kind of car thing that, or some car model that people aren't familiar with, it doesn't have the same kind of ring. I think it's really stupid too when people lead with their cars. It's like, cool story. You probably went into debt for that. That's really awesome. But yeah, it's, and I will say it on the side thing. The people that I've known in my life that are truly rich, I'm talking like they're very financially stable, their cars tend to be not so expensive cars. In fact, some of the super rich people that I know, they are very frugal. I mean, you see them out on the streets, they are not decked out in, let's say, Armani suits all the time. They're not walking around with like high-end luxury stuff. They just look like normal people. They drive, let's say, a Toyota, and that's it. You know, they don't have like a Lamborghini or anything like that, but they could get a Lamborghini if they wanted to. So let's see over here. Yeah, so some people, you know, they gamble, and they gamble because they lose money, and then that's not good either. See? Gambling is very dangerous. I would highly suggest like stay away from gambling. 100%. It's like, yeah, you might make some money, but if you get into it, you'll lose lots and lots of money. Not good. And I've known a few people who did used to like bet on things. Not good. So look at this. Here's another article. If thrift is an Asian virtue, then it is one that South Koreans are notably lacking. Each adult has almost 5 credit cards on average, and the household debt burden exceeds that of the United States before the subprime crisis. Yeah, see, so you got a lot of household borrowing over here. Very freaking serious. And then again, right, people have to borrow more to pay their interest. Not good. So, and then there was this one article over here on Reddit that I read. And I came across this comment. Now, mind you, this comment is 7 years ago, but I find that it rings true for my experiences that I've come across with people. So they talk about the younger generation, right? And they said, what about the older women? What about the men? Why should a self-respecting Korean man blow their money on fancy clothes? Is that superficial or conformist? And, oh wait, hold up. Okay, so this person says, I'm currently living in South Korea. This is what Koreans have to say about money. Money comes, money goes. I'm German, and it's normal for a German to be very stingy about everything. Not a single Korean girl would ever think that's normal. You're supposed to throw out all the money you have to buy fancy clothes and food. And yeah, someone asked if it holds true for older women. Yes, older women are sometimes even worse, except for the very old women, current Ajima, grandma generation, which is slightly better. And I don't give a shit attitude. They care a lot about this stuff. Older women will buy all the expensive stuff for their sons and daughters, which are little prince and princesses. And then Yeah, they said this. Why should a self-respecting Korean man blow money on fancy clothes or fancy food? Because Koreans aren't self-respecting. They only respect others. They have a very collectivist society. They don't measure. This is the person's interpretation, right? They don't measure their self-worth based on their own aspirations. They measure their self-worth based on what others thinks about them, and there's goods and there's bad. So it's very, very competitive. I've said it before, but like South Koreans, they care a lot about your freaking aesthetics. In fact, when they look for a job, they include a picture of like the applicant. So the company, right, when they're looking at the resumes, they get to see the person, and that encourages, let's say, plastic surgery, because you want to be not only the most educated, but you want to also be kind of the most aesthetic as well. See? So the most easily visible thing you immediately see when coming to South Korea, everyone is wearing big and expensive international labels, all the same. All the women look all the time. All the women look the same because they got plastic surgery. What is this? What is 80%? I don't know if that's 80% of a women under the age of 24 had plastic surgery. And yeah, they all try to look like pop stars. And yeah, see all that stuff? So it's just it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And then you talk about South Korea being materialistic. In South Korea, objects identify identity, and then they talk about the growth and the culture over there. See, wealth is often flaunted in tasteless ways, including by showing off big brand item. And then Louis Vuitton handbags were once dumped 3-second bags because you could allegedly see one every 3 seconds in busy Seoul neighborhoods. So you got all these like big like this is what I have kind of thing. See? So this actually is a really good article, right? So material goods serve as a marker of social status, possession, spending, offers a shortcut to demonstrate success in the rat race. So they talk about posting things on social media. And here's the thing. Individuals are reduced to the sum of their material possessions, and relationships between couples are judged how much they spend on gifts, restaurants, and holidays for each other. So, yeah, I don't want to say like blanket statement this, but it really irks me when holidays come around, Valentine's Day comes around, and people on social media will be like, oh, look how much my husband loves me. Look how much my boyfriend loves me. He bought me a pair of, let's say, expensive shoes. And then they show it, and it's like, oh, they do this like $600, $800 luxury good kind of thing. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, can you tell me about this person besides like what kind of freaking expensive stuff they bought for you? But it's sad, I've seen that where it's the items that a person receives gets more coverage on like Valentine's Day than the actual person. You see where I'm getting at? Like, okay, my sweetheart, I love my sweetheart so much. He bought me this Prada purse. I love it! Exclamation. That kind of stuff. Like, yeah. So this is, see? So recently, these material inclinations have trickled down to the form of a new trend, albeit more defeatist. I'm not even going to pronounce it, but it's basically effort expenses. So they impulsively spend on trivialities aimed at relieving stress, and then they spend more money just to feel better for no practical reasons. And yeah, you see this in the kind of US thing too. So it's so freaking superficial, and I won't say like all Koreans are like this, but I find that when it comes to Asians that I've interacted and heard about, it seems to be most prevalent in South Koreans. And I'm not hating on the South Koreans. It's just I think that if possible, or for anybody, right? Get your freaking spending under control. Stick to a freaking budget. Have an emergency fund. That is way more sexy than carrying an LV bag that you simply cannot afford. And with that, I'm gonna read chat really quickly. And let's see. I'm so sorry, you guys. Yeah, credit cards are it's a gateway. Like credit cards allow you to I have several credit cards, but I only make credit card purchases for things that I really need. Um, food, um, cat stuff, that's it. But it's not getting charged as like a rolling debt. It's always paid off in full. Yeah, so Andrej says, I'm happy to say I own everything so far, not a house, but no debt. It's very freeing. If you have credit card debt on you, then because of like materialistic purchases, whatever purchase you make, let's say you buy yourself an expensive item, it will get overshadowed by the feeling of dread and guilt when that credit card bill comes in and you cannot pay for it in full. So Catherine says my oldest T-shirt is 13 years old. I still wear it when I'm at home because I have two cats. You know what? I have a jacket in the closet that is over 13 years old, and I still wear it, and I love it so much. It's crazy because it's like I'm thinking like, man, this jacket is not. It's still kicking around. I got the jacket when I was in high school, probably around when I was like 16 years old. So that makes it what 16 years old? Yeah, 16. I got it when I was around 16. Now I'm 32, so I have like a 16-year-old jacket in the closet that I still wear occasionally. If you guys ever see it, it's like a Aeropostale one. It was like a $10 jacket. It's a green one. And it doesn't look like it's 16 years old, but it is. What's your opinion on getting a MacBook being blinged up? Are you talking about the Swarovski crystal? Okay. So, I'm a frugal person, but I would love to get a MacBook that's all blinged up. I really would. I mean, it's one of those stupid freaking purchases. Like, see this? See that? Like, look at this. Okay, I would have to do it myself because I don't want to pay anybody. But like, look at that gorgeous freaking custom Swarovski. I would love one of these things. But, I wouldn't bring it out. It would just be for my eyes only kind of thing. Because like, even if I'm like streaming over here, you can't see my MacBook while I'm streaming. It's not like, yeah. But I think it's really pretty. I like sparkly stuff. But I know the cost of this. It's very pricey and it's very time consuming too if you do it yourself. If you want to get like the small, I think it was like 5SS crystals or so. Like it's cheap by itself, but when you need hundreds of them, oh my goodness, you might be looking at like 50, 60, $70 just to do your whole case. See that? Pretty though. I think it's pretty. Yeah, so it's just one of those things. Like I think it looks really nice, but truly, I I wouldn't want to bling the back of this MacBook because if I did it on the case, like in case the screen breaks, I would have to toss that on my crystals, right? So some people what they do is they put it on a plastic laptop case, the backing of sorts, the laptop cover, and then they'll bling that out rather than doing it straight on the aluminum itself. But I think it's so pretty. See that? Look at that. Boom. This if I brought it out on the street would say rob me. In 2 seconds, someone will want to take my shiny ass Swarovski crystal case. So I would keep this thing indoors. In fact, I only bring out my laptop when we're traveling. But other than that, it's always staying indoors. I don't go out to a coffee shop with it or anything like that. I mean, I could, but with the amount of theft that goes on in New York, I just keep it indoors. Yeah, see, so yeah, Magic Spam Dragon is right. See, it's gonna be get scrapped 4 to 5 years anyway. It's pretty though. It's pretty, but it's because it's such a big amount of area. It's like quite a bit amount of work to do it, and it's one of those aesthetic things. Like I look at it and I think, wow, so great. And after I look at a bunch of pictures, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to have it on my laptop. See that? Okay, see, this is like too big. I don't like this crystal size. I think it's too... I want a finer crystal, because if you have it finer, it looks more sparkly. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but yeah, bigger crystal is cheaper. Smaller crystal is more finer and more expensive, so you really want the finer crystal. And this kind of stuff has to be hand done. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Crystal MacBook cover. Oh, I remember hearing about this. Let's see. So laptop covers. So this stuff, I've never seen anyone in person with this. Okay, here we go. Look at the Paris Hilton one. Look at that gorgeous freaking thing. Can you imagine if the light hits that thing? See how shiny that is? Super freaking shiny. See? So pretty. So pretty. $900, that costs as much as a MacBook. That costs as much as the MacBook itself. Just for the case. So, but it's an aesthetic thing. It's no different than just buying a luxury purchase that you don't need. But I do find it pretty. I do find it pretty. I've known about this since like 2011, and I haven't done anything or bought anything because as pretty as it is, I can't imagine, like, it would be extra weight as well on the laptop, and yeah, but it would be really nice. It would be really nice. This is the kind of thing, like, if you were sitting on an airplane for 11 hours, you could do it then, but even then, actually, I don't even know. Could you get through TSA with glue and a bunch of Swarovski crystals and be able to do it on the plane? Who knows? Actually, it's going to take you more than 11 hours to do all this, in my opinion. Yeah, Alex says, so pretty, but I'd be constantly anxious about someone snatching it. Yeah, so my thing is that I'm not worried about anybody taking it because I keep it indoors. Like, my laptop is indoors 99% of the time, except when I travel. But I wouldn't get the Swarovski crystal thing to show off to anybody, but it's like when I look at it, I'd be like, ooh, this is nice and pretty, and that's it. That's it. It's a huge, like, expense to get this custom stuff done. You can get cheaper crystal ones done, but like I mentioned, right, the crystal work would not be as pretty. They'll look cheaper. And you can tell that by having like the big crystals. Let's see over here. Do we have any cheap crystals over here? Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is so cute. Look at that. Look at that. Bling bling. I know people are going to be like, oh my gosh, Erica, really? See that? See this? Oh, I love me some good crystals. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. So you can see how big and wide and chunky these crystals look like. Instantly when I look at them, I know it's a cheap crystal because they're so big and they just look clunky. What you want is you want the really fine, the small ones. Like I said, the smaller it is, the more sparkly it is. And let's see, this looks kind of small actually. Actually, I take that back, see? So let's go with Bling MacBook cover. I don't want the cheap one. I want to look at like the $400 ones, and then you guys can see what I'm talking about. I don't know if they sell that here though. That might be a bit much. Ooh, look at that one. Someone will be like, oh my gosh, Erica, this is so freaking gaudy. I love my sparkly crystals, okay? Can we go most expensive? Let's see, all filters. Let's do... How do I sort highest to lowest? Oh, here we go. My bad. Highest price. Okay, see? What is the SS here? I can't tell. Do they even say what the SS is? I don't know. I think the SS should be smaller. It looks like an average size, but maybe it's just me. See, like this one looks way too chunky. This one's kind of cute though. But that looks big. See how big those crystals look? Yeah, I don't like it. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going off in the deep end on MacBook crystal covers just because I think it's so pretty. I think it's really pretty. Bling ThinkPad cover. Yeah, who would want to bling a ThinkPad cover? If you want to bling something, you want to bling something that looks aesthetic, not that freaking plastic-like ThinkPad. As you guys can tell, I'm not a big fan of the aesthetics for a ThinkPad. Especially not that whatever P50 thing that Lewis has. That P50 Mac ThinkPad. Yeah, this is Lewis's ThinkPad. See that? All the Swarovski crystals in the world ain't gonna make this thing look aesthetic. Ugh. Not aesthetic. Not aesthetic. And this thing is clunky too. Real clunky. Okay. So enough with the ThinkPad bashing. Obviously I am on Team MacBook over here. I know. Yeah, so this is, yeah. So, overall, this kind of stuff, these little Swarovski crystal ThinkPads, yes, I do like them a lot. Don't like the ThinkPad. And there's just something so pretty about this. I don't know if Lewis has ever seen one of these babies. I should ask him. Have you ever seen a blinged out MacBook? Is he in here? Is he in here? I don't know if he's in here. Probably not. But if he's ever seen one, like, my goodness, the high shine of some of these okay, see, this one looks like it's a finer SS. Oh, what is this one? Large size. No, I want the small size. I want the 5SS. See, 1,790. So, the SS is a size. So, if you get the large size, the cheap size, it's cheaper. But the smaller you go, the more detailed it looks, the more refractions it has, it gets more and more pricey. So look at the size of like some of these crystals. I don't know if they have the, yeah, like this one looks really fine. This one looks more bigger in my opinion. So yeah, smaller crystals equal more amount of work, more amount of material equals, this is why it costs more than this is why this thing costs more than my MacBook. I think the current MacBook Air costs about what? $1,000. So if you get the laptop cover from this company, $1,790. You guys know they are not paying their workers that much. In fact, if I was a business owner and I want to have a bling company, I would probably be paying someone like a little above minimum wage or minimum wage to do this kind of stuff. I'm going to be real here because it doesn't take that much. Like if you're just doing a solid color, you just gotta like tell them, make sure you work on making it look clean. But other than that, doesn't look like it's really rocket science at all. But yeah, not the green one. I mean, not the pink one. Oh, look at this. You got crystal clear is the way to go. Crystal clear like this one. Ooh. Pretty. And then you can add your initials for $55. Okay, so let's see. My laptop size is a 13-inch. Ooh, look at that. I would want the 5SS. Crystal clear. What's crystal shimmer versus crystal clear? Let's go crystal shimmer. Crystal clear. Actually, I like crystal clear. I will send my laptop in. Yeah, I'll do that. And then yes, please. Let's add my initials in here. No, I don't want to add my name in here. Do I want initials? Now, if I was hypothetically doing that, would I want my name on there? Actually, you know what? There you go. Add your name in there. And then you would want to add your signature because you don't want to screw this thing up. $2,077 if I had my ideal laptop case with blings with my name on it and 13-inch MacBook case. And it would be the cover. So it would not be actually on the laptop itself. So if you stick with another 13-inch MacBook, you could just snap that baby on there. Crazy, huh? $2,000. But let's click out of that because that is kind of crazy. And then there's the LV Troville. So it is a steal, literally. Yeah. I know they're not paying people that high to do that sort of work. I imagine they do have people who are skilled, but based on how much business they're probably getting in, and this is just my opinion, because a lot of people aren't walking around with bling laptops. Probably a very small business, but yeah, that's just my thinking. Yours. Yeah, so I will talk to you guys later. Overall, just wrapping it up. I hope you guys watch the documentary that I linked over here, the CNA Insider, and if you are thinking about making an impulsive purchase, think twice about it. I'd say I like to think about my purchases for at least 24 hours. There are some times where I go into the store, or if I buy something, I put it in my Amazon cart and I'll just leave it there, and then I'll just forget about it. And that usually screens things out. Or if I'm at a store, what I'll tell myself is, Erica, if you really want this item, come back for it. And 99% of the time, I never come back for the item because I forget about it. So that's the way that I screen out a lot of purchases, especially if it's a luxury item purchase. You think about it, you get impulsive, right? You'll see it and you'll be like, ooh, this is so pretty, but you don't have to buy it right then and there. They have more in the back, or alternatively, you could probably buy it online, or buy it from another store. And you don't have to make your decision impulsively. So if you remove the impulsiveness, it prevents a lot of this impulsive spending. And I think it's good to hear stories or get insight about people who do fill themselves up with impulsive purchases, and they have to live with the situation of having debt collectors, having possible mental breakdowns because of their debt. And I'm not saying all debt is preventable, but what I'm saying is that for purchases that you don't need, that is preventable. So your debt would be less than what it would be. And I also recommend that people, if they can, budget and get out of debt as quickly as possible, because I find that debt, in my opinion, it's like a prison. It traps a person mentally. So it's very, very important to not place yourself in the situation if you can avoid it. And it's better to just go with something that instead of buying a luxury handbag, for instance, you can buy a cheaper handbag. You can buy a vintage handbag, and instead of buying new, you can be more more environmental and not take that depreciation cost. So I'm a big fan of buying pre-owned or acquiring things vintage, since it prevents things from going into the landfill. If I buy it online, they took the depreciation hit. It wasn't me. And I'm not contributing to new waste. But of course, not everything I have is pre-owned. There are things that I buy brand new, but I don't make too many purchases that I don't really think too much about. But yeah, my big purchases that I make, as you guys know, is food. So I prioritize having better food than having, let's say, another pair of heels or another handbag. And that's good, because it's better to have better nutrition than having these items where you're chasing it because it's considered to be a status symbol. If you do have a luxury item, or if you do want to, let's say, have that LV bag, I have nothing against LV bags, by the way. I think LV bags are great. I like the regular canvas bags, you know, the monogram print. I think that's really nice. But you need to be selective, and I would strongly suggest, to prevent, let's say, spending get out of control, buy something that's timeless. Don't buy something where you're chasing the trend. Because keep in mind, if you see people on Instagram, let's say influencers, saying, oh, you know, I bought this item and it's like the Fendi. If you guys are not familiar, like one of the biggest it bags out there was the Fendi Spy. Fendi Spy bag. I spelled it wrong. I thought this was a freaking ugly ass bag. I remember when it first came out. Oh my gosh. I still think it's ugly. See this bag? And it's really heavy too. So, this bag was huge. And they made a lot of replicas of it. I felt it in person. I was like, oh, this is like the it bag. This bag sucks. So, I still stand by my statement. I bet you there's a bunch of people who have Fendi Spy bags. And they probably don't carry it around anymore because they probably realize, like, not only is the bag not that most aesthetic, in my opinion, but it's really heavy, and it really sucks to carry a heavy handbag when there's nothing in it at all. And this bag, how much was this bag? When did the Spy come out? The Fendi Spy? 2005. Here we go. How much was it? $2,250 bag. Oh man, I still don't like this bag. See this? This bag, $2,000, $2,250. See, so everybody, according to, let's say, magazines and media, they're like, oh my gosh, the Spy bag, the Spy bag. And I mean, you have a copycat of this bag at Ross, ain't no one gonna buy it, in my opinion, except a few people. But these kind of bags, I don't know what propels the bags to get to that stratosphere of being highly coveted, but I imagine it's a combination of marketing and a combination of, let's say, stylists putting these bags on what are seen to be influencers at the time, like a Paris Hilton, let's say a Lindsay Lohan, Misha Barton, that sort of thing, Nicole Richie. And people, normal people, see this and they think, oh, you know, Nicole Richie has it, so I need to have that bag too. And then they spend their hard money. Now, $2,250 for Nicole Richie, if she bought it, and it could definitely be a borrowed bag or it could be a free bag, is nothing. But $2,250 for a person making $15 an hour is kind of painful. So, yeah. And one look at the Fendi Spy bag, I don't think it's a timeless bag. I think it looks, like I said, it looks bulky. It doesn't look classy. It looks like it looks like a cheap bag. But it's an expensive bag. Nope, that's American dollars. $2,250 American. So people, when they had this bag, they're like, oh, look, I got the Fendi Spy. See how big this bag is? I don't know if it came in different sizes. I have no idea. But I do remember that I lifted up the Fendi Spy and I was like, this bag is even more terrible. This bag's going to look huge on me. See that? $2,250 bag right here. That's the one the woman is holding. And look, it got a depreciation cost because it was $2,250 new. And now you can get it pre-owned for 485 Canadian. So if you want to buy some of these bags, I would recommend buy them pre-owned because, as I mentioned before, you don't take the depreciation costs. See? So someone out there paid $2,250 for that bag, and then they said, you know what, I don't want it anymore, I'm going to sell it, and I don't know how much Real takes for their commission. I'm assuming it's at least 20%, so they lost a lot of money from that. And now, because it's not considered to be that much of a stylish bag, I still think it's a ugly bag, then you might have an expensive bag in your closet that you can't really unload, and not good. Yeah. It's like someone made a bet to see how ugly bag could convince you it was the best. Yeah, yeah. So I don't go with these kind of bags. The bags that I like would be, let's see. I like these bags. See this bag? I like the Epi leather bags. I think they're pretty, but the Epi leather, like the new ones, from what the last time I felt it, is so freaking thin. It really pisses me off. I think LV is just coasting on the name right now. But that's just my stance on it. I don't like having, see, like something like this. I think is pretty. It's timeless. I could wear it in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and yeah, it's a pretty bag. I can see myself with this bag. That a little big though, a little big. I mean, I don't carry much in my bag at all, so that's a little too big for my use. I could use like a really tiny bag, but I do like what is this one? There's like a mini one. I forgot what you call it. Oh crap! Hold on. There's a mini LV bag. Crap. I'm not good with the names. Oh my gosh, when I was in college, a lot of women had these bags. A lot of women also had replicas. The Neverfull. Yes, the freaking Neverfull. But I like... I thought this was a really cute one. I mean, that fits about as much stuff as I put in my bag. That, I think, is kind of cute. I know that was a replica. But you guys are getting what I'm saying. Like, it's something that looks a little bit more classy. It's not the spy bag. But whatever bag I decide to get, if I decided to get LV for myself, like buy one for myself, most likely it would be, I can guarantee you, like 99% chance it would be it would be pre-owned. Or if it's not pre-owned, if it would be a replica. Because I don't feel comfortable having a real bag in New York. I'm afraid it will get stolen, and personally, I don't want to give any thief the satisfaction of stealing a real LV bag for me. I don't, and I would be really upfront about it. I know some people, they would say, "Oh, you know, Erica, how can you be so lackadaisical about talking about a replica?" But there are a lot of opportunistic people in New York, and if you have a real LV bag, they would see money signs if I'm carrying that bag out. And so if they took my bag, I would actually like to say, like, ha, you have a fake, so don't think you're gonna get a lot of money for that fake, because it's a fake. And yeah, I could care. I don't really care if people say, like, oh my gosh, she's carrying a replica. It's a safety issue. It's a safety issue, and I can almost guarantee you that if I did have one, at least one of my bags would get stolen if it was an LV bag. If I was walking down the street, someone would take it. Yeah, so Megaside says, one ought not to piss away money by buying things you don't need just to impress people you don't even like. Debt is for suckers. Debt is not unavoidable for a lot of people. Like, eventually people get into debt when they get a mortgage. But a lot of the times, like, luxury purchases or, quote, treating yourself, rewarding yourself. Rewarding yourself is not getting into debt. Oh, see, this is kind of cute, but nah, I don't really like it. See, a handbag like this, if I'm walking down the street in New York, if I'm in the subway, someone would easily snatch that bag out my hand. So I don't carry handbags. I always carry crossbodies. Always carry crossbodies. Unless I'm in a car, like going to and from a restaurant. It's sad. It's sad because it's like I never really thought about the dangers of, see, like this crossbody. If you want to take this crossbody, you probably have to knock me down. And I'm not saying it's hard to knock me down, but it takes a little bit more effort rather than just riding up on a bicycle and then just snatching my bag. And I know people would probably be, at least one person in New York would be very tempted to do that. So yeah, replica in New York is the way to go. No, nothing to be ashamed of. There's a lot of crime in New York, so yeah. Get a garbage bag. Yeah, I don't have any LV bag. You guys always see me wear the same freaking I wear a Le Sportsac bag. This is my bag. I've shared it with you guys before. I bought mine's pre-owned. If you like a Le Sportsac bag, don't buy them new. Buy them pre-owned. There's a lot of pre-owned out there, and you can usually get them for about $10 shipped online. $5 to $10 shipped. And these bags last forever. Seriously, I've never thrown away a Le Sportsac bag because they've never broke on me. And this is going. I have some bags that I've had since high school, and they still look really good. If you want to clean them, you just throw them in the washing machine. That's it. Throw it in the washing machine. Maybe put some stain remover in there. Not guaranteed that all the stains will get out. Like some dirt stains, for whatever reason, they stay on forever, but you get a lot of usage out of your LV bag. I mean, not LV, Le Sportsac bag. So for my lifestyle, I prefer having Le Sportsac bag. They don't look like the classier bags. They look kind of grandma-like, but they work really well. And they're super light. You can throw them inside of a luggage bag. You can crumple them up in a ball. And you don't have to worry about, let's say, leather maintenance, leather creasing. As I mentioned before, I've never had a strap break on me. And I've used to carry like about 15 pounds in one of my Le Sportsac bags. Because I used to bring it around when I was in college. So I used to carry textbooks in there. And after I was done using it, I look at it, I'm like, hey, there's no hole in here. Wow, it's super freaking durable. Yeah. So is a handbag simply a status symbol? It can be a status symbol, but it also elevates a look. So for instance, right, if you're going out, let's make an example here. If you go out to dinner and you want to look nice, right? Would you rather carry this grandma looking bag? This looks very similar to the bag that I carry right now. This bag, or would you rather carry a more refined looking handbag? So I personally think the LV monogram is super timeless, but oh, here we go. Let me show this. So let's see over here. Like freaking the Neverfulls. This is a pretty classic bag. What bag do I think looks nice? Oh, this is cute. Okay, let's go with this one. So if you're going out to dinner and someone's dressed up nicely, would they look better with this bag or would they look better with that bag? 100% they would look better with this bag. Oh, yeah, see? It's a crossbody. So this would actually work well with my lifestyle. But who knows? If I got an LV bag, most likely I would probably get a bag like this. The Monogram Favorite PM. But I would have to see how it looks like on me in person. It's small enough where it's like you just keep the bare, the bare minimum. Cell phone, keys, maybe lip balm, tissue. That's it. That's all you need. Credit card. And it's small, it's sleek, and yeah, it doesn't take up too much space. But only the issue, look at this, $1,150 bag. But this is one of those bags I feel confident in saying. I'm not really a big fan of that chain. I think the chain is removable. But I feel confident in saying like something like this, you can wear it in 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And it could be the same bag. Now, I don't know how long the strap will last. That's the only thing. Because I know LV straps like this, they tend to, if I remember correctly, oh wait, no, okay, never mind. Yeah, they have a seam in the middle. So this should last a while, but yeah, you can also get the bag repaired. You can bring it to LV and then have them repair anything if, like, say the strap breaks. It costs money. It's not going to be like a $25 repair. It's probably going to be like $100 or $200, but minimalism in that sense. It's one of those classy bags. I think it's a classy bag that I could have for a long period of time, but I don't have any desire about getting an LV bag right now, so I stick with that. Oh, look, here's my duffel bag, my weekender. So I carry this bag whenever I travel. The Super Mario purchase, I think I paid, how much did I pay for this? Like 150. Oh my gosh, look, it's $100 now. I paid like full price for this bag, but I loved it so much that I thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy a brand new sports sack just because I love my Mario print. And every time I go to travel and I carry my little weekender, it brings a smile to my face. And this bag will last me, I expect this bag to last me at least 20 years, that Mario bag. Let's see. See, so they make basically this, it's like the same style bag, it just has different prints. See? Here's my travel bag, the medium weekender, right here. I actually baby this bag, so if you ever have a Le Sportsac bag, just want to let you guys know, the ribbon over here that says Le Sportsac, it's printed. So expect this thing to wear off after a while, maybe a year, 2 years, and or if it rubs against, let's say, your clothing, or if you throw it in the washing machine, it'll start fading. But other than that, like, not everything else has a good structure to it. Refined, but doesn't need to be that expensive. No, LV is definitely one of those marked up bags. So it's like, when you look at the construction of it, should this be worth more than a laptop, a MacBook? My opinion, no. It's one of those like total bougie kind of things, and you buy it because you like the print or you like the construction of it. I've heard some pretty not so flattering things about LV. I think they have a factory. Listen to this. So the LV doesn't just have made in France. Before it was all made in France, but they have a factory in Texas, if I remember correctly. And people say the USA bags are not as good as the France ones. See, so nowadays LV bags are not only produced in France, but they're also made in the USA, Italy, Switzerland, Germany, and Spain. And I personally, from what I've been hearing online, I refuse to have an LV bag made in the USA because I've heard the quality and the leather is different. I've seen some YouTube clips where people do a comparison, and some people say yes, there is a difference. But I don't want to, yeah, some people say there's no difference, other people say there is a difference. But, yeah, see, Texas made, yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with the vintage one. I'm not gonna, or I'm gonna go with the replica. I don't wanna get the LV USA one. Because if you're paying $1,150, I think you probably want to get the more premium location one, just because, yeah, but you guys can check that thing out. Oh, look at this, giant by the pool. Ooh, that looks like Hawaii. Oh, I think this is so cute. $3,295. Gee, look at this. Cute though, yeah? It is cute. I think it's cute. This thing is so easy to replica. I mean, I don't know how much the replica would be. I'd assume it'd be less than $300. It's cute though. Way too big for my use though. No, people actually did a few reviews on YouTube, and they bought like the same item, and one of them's from France and the other one is from US, and they say the leather's a little different. You guys can look it up on YouTube. And whatever bag I have, I'm not planning to resell anyway. So I just wanna, I would want to make sure that the bag that I have, I think really carefully about whatever purchase I have. So it's easier for, you get a lot more bang for your buck if you buy a vintage one or if you buy a replica. But it's hard pressed for me to think like, okay, what bag do I think can last me for the next 30 years if it's an LV? Hard to say. But if I do find it, I would be tempted to get it, but living in New York, not the safest place to be carrying an LV for obvious reasons. Look at all the stuff. Like, I have not seen the LV line in quite some time. Oh, that looks like crap. It's all buckling and stuff. Oh, I remember this bag. Holy crap. This is this bag, the denim baggy. Oh my gosh, that's a blast from the frickin' past. Oh, I remember that bag. That came out around like 2000s. Most of these bags, I'm like, this rosewood, this Vernus rosewood looks butt ugly, in my opinion. This looks total trendy. I don't like it. See, this one looks kind of nice. This artsy ombre. But too big for me. This is cute. This monogram giant. Let's see how big that is. $3,400 bag. Let's see how it is. I'll pass. It looks cool, but then once you see it on the dummy or the model, it's like, never mind. Okay, you guys, so I will really talk to you guys later. I got so caught up on this thing. I know it's a pet peeve when people listen to my stream. She says she's gonna go away, and then she stayed on for another 20 minutes or so, but just please be mindful about your spending and think about it. Wait 24 hours, wait 48 hours before you make that impulsive purchase, and don't get into credit card debt over stupid reasons. And if you are depressed or if you feel like you're lacking stuff in your life, do not think that having a luxury item will fix everything, because you need to work on yourself before you try to, you need to work on yourself instead of thinking a materialistic item is going to solve all your issues for you. For instance, right? If I was depressed about my life, buying an LV bag might make me happy for a little bit, but it doesn't change the circumstances of one's life, right? Like, if you are stressed out because, let's say you're stressed out because your pet is sick. You buying an LV bag does not change the fact that your pet is sick. See? So it might make you temporarily happy. You might think like, oh, I'm happy that I got this bag, but the situation is still the same. You just are, in this case, $2,950 poorer, or you have $2,950 less in your bank account because you bought this bag. And you gotta tackle your problems head on instead of running to materialistic items. And I know that it's easy for certain people to think, oh yeah, well, I'm more valuable if I have luxury items. Truly, the value that you have, again, is within you. The luxury items, the nice pretty clothing and stuff like that, adds to it. But I've known people who have expensive things that are total jackasses. And just because they had nicer stuff or they had a nice car doesn't make them a cooler person when you actually get to know them. I'm reminded, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm reminded of Elliot Rogers, and I might do a stream in the future about it. You know, the BMW guy, the magnificent, perfect gentleman, that guy. Oh my gosh, like he has a bunch of money, and he thought the luxury items would enable him to get women, but his personality absolutely sucked. And that guy, like, in my opinion, Elliot Rogers was a good looking guy, and he obviously had, the nice car and the good style, good-ish style, but his personality just is the reason why he couldn't get women. He also didn't put himself out there as well. He wanted women to approach him. And word of advice to any guy who thinks that having a nice car is gonna get women to approach you: if you have a car that is, let's say, $70,000 or $100,000, in my opinion, women won't approach you. If you have a car that, let's say, is like a Maserati or a Lamborghini or something like flashy, then you'll have more women approach you. But don't kid yourself. And even the women who approach you, if you, let's say, have a Lamborghini, the chances are they're going to be gold diggers. They're going to be women who are like, ooh, you know, I'm gonna talk to this guy because I know he has at least $300,000 that he can spend on his car, and that also implies that the guy has way more than $300,000 in his bank account. So it's very, very dangerous to have an expensive car if you are financially well off. I remember this one guy that I knew, and I know I'm getting off track, but there was this one guy that I knew that was a multimillionaire, and he told me, he said, if you get any car other than like a down to earth kind of car, like I think he said like a Mazda or Acura, I forgot what it was, then you seem like a jerk. So he did not recommend to get any flashy kind of car. And this is just like one of those like general things, because yeah, he says people see you a different way if you have a flashy car. And yeah. Hold up. And let's see what Catherine would approach. What is this? I wouldn't even notice this car. Seriously, if I was going down the street and someone had this car, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. And that's the other thing too. I think some guys, they think maybe women recognize these cars, and I'm like, apart from, let's say, like something like a BMW, a Mercedes, or a Lambo, or maybe like what's that? Oh my gosh, what's that one car? I can't remember the name of it. But another car that I can't remember the name of it. Like my knowledge of cars is extremely, extremely, extremely limited. So yeah. Yeah, Rambo Lambo. Yes, it's a Rambo Lambo. Look at that. Lamborghini truck. I would not notice this freaking Lamborghini truck. I mean, if someone was like driving down the street in that, I'd be like, what? I would think this is a Jeep. To be honestly, I'd see it as a variation of like the Jeep Wrangler, and I'd just like walk right past it. And I'm saying that because I imagine a lot of other women would be like, okay, you know, whatever. But something like Lamborghini, everyone's gonna be like, oh my gosh, Erica, so basic. This one, like, everybody notices this damn car, right? I always thought these cars were cool, but yeah, what color do I think looks cool? Let's see. I don't know, all of them look pretty cool. I always thought the gold ones look cool. See that? Ooh, gold. Super cool though. But look at the price of this. $421,300. Oh my gosh. Crazy. And what do you do? Like, if you had let's just say, okay, if anybody owned a Lambo, and I'm sure like 99.9% of us don't own a Lambo who are listening in the stream, where the hell would you park this car, right? You would not feel comfortable parking this car on the street in Brooklyn. I tell you that straight up. You would not feel comfortable parking it in like anything apart from, let's say, a covered garage where you have like a parking attendant or some kind of gated garage. Like, oh gosh, it's like $500,000, and that's kind of like a stress. So that's kind of scary, right? You have a car like this, you pay over $400,000 for this car, and whenever you park your car, you know, people are scoping out your car. You know, some people might want to break into your car. They might like break your window. Oh my gosh. Versus if you have like a nice little Mazda, like something like this, like, ain't no one gonna touch your car, you know. I don't know, a Mazda Miata. Look at that. No one's gonna touch this little 2-seater. See that? I don't think anyone's gonna touch your 2-seater. How much is a Mazda Miata anyway? Oh, 27,000. See? Or your a Nissan 350Z. See, no one's really gonna touch this freaking car. They're gonna walk right past it. Yeah. Oh, what is this? Yeah, so even with all these like luxury looking cars, people need to be aware that it's not just getting the money to buy this car. It's a huge, in my opinion, a huge stressor and a huge possible liability because you want your expensive purchase to stay safe and you cannot bring your Lamborghini with you. If you live in an apartment, right, and you don't have a parking garage, well, you better, actually, I take that back, you better have a freaking parking garage for a Lamborghini. But if you, let's say you're going to a restaurant, right, and you park it on the street, while you're eating dinner, you might be thinking like, shit, I wonder if like anybody's like scratching my car up. I wonder if someone's like carjacking my car. I wonder if someone's trying to take it out for a joyride. All those kind of things, like I keep in mind, and I wonder. I think like, man, for certain people who have like expensive freaking cars, like maybe money is no issue. Maybe they really don't care if their car gets stolen. But I imagine that people would kind of worry about it. But I could be wrong. Maybe they'd just be like, if it gets stolen, I'll just buy another one. But yeah, that's too much of a psychological stressor. So I, instead of having an expensive car, I would say if any of you guys, like, even if you guys can't afford a Lambo, go with the more low key car, because you don't have to think like, okay, someone might steal my Lambo. Someone might break into my parking garage and steal my Lambo. Yeah. If you live in Saudi Arabia, yeah, that's gonna be. Oh yeah, don't forget insurance costs too, right? Can you imagine the insurance cost for a Lamborghini? Oh my gosh, that would, yeah, the insurance cost for a Lamborghini monthly. I imagine for some of these cars probably costs like within like 6 months or so, you could probably buy like a cheap car outright, just based on the insurance money. So yeah, the parts. Yep, yep, yep. So yeah, keep your spending in check, and don't go into debt over stupid stuff. And if you do want to buy nice stuff, my recommendation: get it pre-owned. Get it pre-owned. No one's gonna know unless you tell them. And if you have like nice quality stuff, yeah, don't. Just make sure you keep it in check. Either that, or you're gonna be like one of these people who have debt collectors up their butt, because, or they're surrounded by a whole bunch of stuff that they couldn't afford, and they live a life where they have crippling depression because they can't find a way out. And again, if you are in this situation and you don't know, you know, you feel trapped, seek the help of a financial advisor. I've been listening to, and this is not shilling, this is just me being honest, but I've been listening to like Dave Ramsey, and I think a lot of the stuff he says does make sense. I haven't followed any of his books, but you know, he's just one of several people out there, and he has this belief that, yeah, like obliterate debt, get rid of debt. I think he says for a mortgage, you should, the home that you get, the mortgage should only cost 1/4 of your total income, something like that. And then you should only do like a 15 year fixed mortgage. I think it was a fixed mortgage. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, those kind of things I thought like, huh, that actually makes sense, because even if your income goes down by 50%, right, you still be able to pay your mortgage, versus if you over leverage yourself and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna get the most amount of money that I can borrow, and let me just do a 30 year, like you have 30 years of stress on you. So but it's tough to say, because like the housing market is so hot right now, but I don't think it's gonna stay in this state forever. I think right now it's just like a frenzy, and I expect it to cool down. But yeah, right now it's like crazy hot market. Yeah. I'm not, I mean, like, I have like, I see some nice cars and I think it's really pretty. I've shared with you guys, the car that I thought was really pretty is Maserati. There's a Maserati that I've showed you guys, and it's like a $200,000 Maserati. I've showed it to you guys, and I think it's pretty. But, where is it? Oh, here we go. The MC20. The MC20 I think is so gorgeous. I think it was like 220,000 if I remember correctly. And they don't tell you the price, if I remember correctly, but I think it was 228,000. Let's see. Right. Okay, continue. See this? I think this car looks more interesting than a Lambo. That's just me. See, look at that. The carbon fiber stuff in here. Come on. Look at that. Look at this. This looks so cool. I think it looks cool. Let's see. Where's the... Oh, here. Crate. I want to crate. Yeah, let me... See this? Ooh, pretty. There we go. See it? See how cool that car looks? I think it looks really cool. I just like the flow of it. I like the design of it, but I don't know how it rides, obviously. But between, like, if I saw a car on the street versus a Lambo versus this, I would think this is like a super cool looking car. Look at the wheels. Look at the wheels. Look at the sleekness of it. That looks like one beeping. That looks more expensive to me than a Lambo, just visually. And then I don't know why you're going to be going 621 miles. I don't know why you're going to be going 202 miles in a 35-mile-an-hour zone, but nice car. Very beautiful car. See that? Ooh. So Emily asked us if there's any good pre-owned sites. I like Mercari. Mercari's really good. Mercari is good. eBay is good. Poshmark is good. If you go for luxury bags, Real is good. I believe Real is good, but I haven't bought any pre-owned luxury bags online. But that's the brands that I've heard about, and I think that's it off the top of my head that I can remember. Yeah, that's it. But and then also you can always go to check out garage sales. Garage sales are good. Estate sales are good. Goodwill is good. Plato's Closet. You got Savers. What else do you have? If you're in New York, you also have places like Housing Works. Any charity shop, any thrift store, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really like I can't like if you go to like a Goodwill or a charity shop or something like that, it's really crapshoot because you don't know if you're gonna see like a really good thing one day and like a really crappy thing the other day. I remember I used to hit up Savers when I was in Hawaii pretty often, and I bought this beautiful vase. No, I didn't buy a vase. What was it? No, it was a maneki neko. So this is one of those things. Okay, I know I'm getting way off track here, but there was a plumeria flower vase Hawaii. I know people are like, Erica, we didn't ask for this stream. Okay, this one, Dorothy Okamuto. Yeah. Dorothy Okum. So I actually have one of these in Hawaii. This thing. See that? And I have this thing where I kind of like the Dorothy... I keep forgetting the freaking name. Dorothy Okamuto stuff. Because I think it's nice. So she's known for her plumeria stuff. Her son, Peter, took over. But this one, once I saw it at a Savers, and I think I paid $14 for it. And it's actually signed by her. I think it was, it has her signature, and I think it was from the 1970s. I paid, I think, $14 for it. And I was just so surprised. See? So it goes for $65. But yeah, it's one of those things where I see it, I'm like, oh, it kind of reminds me of Hawaii, and I like it. So I like these kind of pieces. And then See the lei vase? I thought this was kind of pretty. And people are gonna be like, Erica, this looks so dated. I know. I like this kind of stuff, okay? But I only have one piece. I don't want to be a Dorothy Okamoto collector. But if I came across a vase like this, I would snap it up. I'd be like, okay, I need to have more of these vases. Just slightly. See that? But it has to be the right vase too. It can't be, I don't want to just get a vase because it's a vase, but it has to be like flowing and nice and special. And yeah, I gotta be really choosy. I remember I saw this one person who had a bunch of her vases and I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, I want one of those vases. I have not got one of those vases, but instead I got this Maneki Neko. See? Oh, okay, not this one. But it was this one exactly. Except she did it, not her son. D-brand skins? I have zero interest on putting a skin on my MacBook laptop. Yeah, I have zero interest. I mean, I just have like the plain aluminum back face right now. So would I rather have an LV bag or have no need for a bag at all? I like having a bag because women pockets are a pain in the ass. Women's pockets, if you're not familiar with them, they're basically useless. A lot of stuff, it's like men's jeans, men's pockets go really deep in, but women's pockets are very shallow. Like you can only keep maybe a chapstick in there or a thin wallet, and apart from because it's like such small little flat pockets, so those suck. So yeah, if I could, I would want to go without. Actually, no, I'm so used to carrying a handbag, so yeah, I would carry a bag. Not exactly an LV bag because I don't feel safe carrying an LV bag, but I definitely need to carry some sort of bag with me. I barely carry anything in my current handbag. Keys, cell phone, tissue. I have a can of cat food in there in case I come across a stray cat. And what else do I carry in there? Keys, cell phone, tissue, cat food. A little bit of lotion in there, and chapstick, and yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all I carry with me. Yeah, Emily says that's because the pockets hinder the shape of the body when it comes to pants. Yeah, we got some use. Or you know what the worst thing is? Okay, look at this. The freaking pockets get sewn. You got these like useless pockets. Pockets. See that? So you got your pocket and you think you can use it, but it's a flat pocket. So it's a total fake pocket. It does not actually hold anything. And there are some pants out there, like business pants, that you think you have all these pockets. You got front and back pockets. You got zilch. It just looks like you got pockets. But you can't even put a chapstick. See? Faux pockets. Stupidest thing ever. I understand from a design part it looks nice, but I hate those fake pockets. Those things trigger me. It's like, oh, well, why don't you, why do you need to carry things in your hand? Put it in your pocket. I'm like, I don't have any pockets. These look like pockets, but they're not really pockets. Look at this. See? Why do women's pots not have pockets? See how shallow these freaking pockets are? This is what I'm talking about. Freaking shallowness of the pockets. It triggers me. It triggers me. But I get it. That's why you have handbags. Yeah. Okay, seriously, you guys. I'm going to get going. You guys take care. And this has been a longer stream than I anticipated. 1 hour and 40 minutes, but a lot better than what my previous streams used to be. I think this stream had a whole bunch of information and like discussion, but it went kind of back and forth. And I prefer doing the live streams rather than the edited video, because if I wanted to do an edited video on this, oh my gosh, this would have taken me freaking forever. Because then I'd be like, okay, I gotta take this out and this out and this out and get straight to the point and make a 15-minute video. And it's hard for me to summarize this kind of stuff. And I like learning about new things, like the Rambo Lambo, for instance. I had no idea that existed, but I will let any gold diggers I know to be on the lookout for the Rambo Lambo, so they know where a rich guy is. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, you guys. I shall see you. Take care.